There's a city in Southeast Asia where if you stand on the sidewalk, the ocean is literally floating above your head. And I don't mean that in a cool aquarium tunnel kind of way. There's literally a concrete wall holding back the Java Sea from instantly flooding millions of homes, which is cracking by the way. This is Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. It's the economic engine of the country, home to 11 million people, and it has achieved a world record that no city really wants. Sinking faster than any other major city on earth, some neighborhoods are dropping 25 centimeters a year, which doesn't sound much but is actually double the global average for sinking cities. By 2050, it pretty much guaranteed that 95% of North Jakarta will be underwater. So, the Indonesian government looked at this and said, we need to find a solution. Are they gonna fix the infrastructure? No. Are they gonna build better seawalls? They tried, it didn't work. Instead, the solution was something drastic. They said they're gonna pack up their bags, leave the sinking ship behind and build a brand new capital from scratch in the middle of a jungle 1,000 kilometers away. It's called Nusantara, and on paper it looks like a utopia. Zero emissions, flying taxis, rainforests integrated into the skyscrapers. But if you dig a little deeper, you realize this isn't really about building a new city. It's more of a $35 billion escape hatch for the government, elites and businessmen, paid for by selling off the rainforest. And here's why Indonesia is really abandoning it. First, we have to ask a very casual and regular question. How do you accidentally sink a megacity? Usually when we talk about sinking cities, we blame climate change and rising sea levels. And sure, that's part of it, but Jakarta is sinking faster than the sea is rising, so that can't be true, can it? And there is a very good reason for why that's happening. It's literally because they're drinking water from the ground. You see, Jakarta's pipe water system is, let's just call it trash. It covers less than half the city, barely gets any maintenance. So for decades, if you wanted water for your house, your hotel or your shopping mall, you just dig a well and put it out of the aquifer underground. And when you suck all the water out of the soil, the land creates air pockets. Then the weight of the concrete buildings and skyscrapers above crushes these pockets and the ground compresses. It's like sucking a milkshake through a straw until the cup collapses in on itself. Jakarta isn't drowning, it's deflating. And the government knows this, but banning groundwater extraction is political suicide when you literally can't even provide tap water. So instead of solving the water crisis, they decided to solve the location crisis. And that's how Nusantara comes into the scene. Located on the island of Borneo, which is famous for two things by the way. One for being one of the most important biodiversity hotspots on the planet, home to orangutan and clouded leopards, and two, for having zero infrastructure. Like for real, this place looks more dense than the jungle biome in Minecraft. The plan you see is to move 1.9 million people, mostly civil servants, military and their families, into this jungle by 2045. President Jokowi calls this a smart forest city. The marketing pitch is insane. They're promising a 10-minute city where everything is walkable. They claim it will be carbon neutral. It sounds great, to be honest, but there's a slight issue. Indonesia doesn't have the money. The government is only paying for 20% of the 35 billion price tag. So where is the other 80% coming from? You guessed it, foreign investors. And this is where the Dubai model comes back to haunt us, which I talked about in a previous video and you should totally go and check. To pay for the city, Indonesia has to sell the land to developers, wealthy and resourceful developers who can deliver. And originally, SoftBank, the guys who funded WeWork and Uber, were ready to pour billions of dollars into the city. But then they looked at the plans and said, yeah, no, we're fine, and pulled out of the deal last minute. So now Indonesia is desperate. They're offering tax holidays for 30 years, and literally allowing foreign ownership of land for up to 190 years. They're basically turning a chunk of their sovereign territory into a corporate freebie zone. And the people stepping in? State-owned construction firms from China and investment funds from the UAE. Yes, the Dubai guys are involved. Shocking, I know. But building a city in a jungle isn't green. It's literally the opposite. Environmentalists are screaming that this will fragment the habitat of the Bornean orangutan. You can't just drop a slab of concrete the size of Manhattan into a rainforest and call it eco-friendly because you planted some bushes on the balconies. But the government, you see, it doesn't care. Because the project isn't about environment. It never was in the first place. It was just marketed as such. This brings us to the darkest part of the story. When the government moves Nusantara, they are taking the politicians, the Supreme Court, the military headquarters, and the money. But remember, Jakarta has 11 million people. They aren't all moving. In fact, most of them can't afford to move. They're staying behind in the sinking city. Jakarta will remain the business center, which is the economic code for the place where we make money but don't want to live in. By moving the capital, the government is essentially removing the pressure to fix Jakarta. But the presidential palace isn't flooding anymore. Does the president really care about the seawall that's cracking? Critics are calling this the Great Abandonment. It's not a solution to a climate disaster, it's a segregation of the survivors. And I think we're seeing a new trend in the 21st century, whether it's the line in Saudi Arabia, the MP cities of China, or the jungle capital of Indonesia. The governments have stopped trying to fix broken cities. They realize it's easier and more profitable for their contractor friends to just build new ones. Nusantara might end up being a beautiful futuristic city, but for the millions of people left behind in Jakarta, watching the water rise above their ankles, it just looks like a getaway car. Thanks for watching. If you want to know about another city built on empty promises, check out my video on why Dubai is secretly empty.